My name is Jordan Bruner. I have a 2003 Silverado SS. My truck is Arrival Blue. As far as powertrain, it's stock with the 6.0 4L60. Still got stock wheels, but I lowered it 2 inches all the way around. Put some tint on it, some white vinyl wrap on the bumper vents and the SS badges and the bow tie. I gave it a cold air intake, exhaust tune, standard stuff. I was born and raised in Ruston, Louisiana. Grew up like anyone else, playing sports, driving lifted trucks through the mud, four-wheelers, all that good stuff. I've been interested in cars since I was a little kid. My dad had a simple F-150, but for some reason I loved it. And just seeing all the cool, fast cars going down the road, I always knew I wanted one. My first vehicle was a single cab 2002 F-150. It was lifted a little bit with some mud tires on it. Manual transmission. I loved that truck. It was a lot of fun to drive, but then driving it through the mud so much, man, it started breaking left and right. I bought this truck a few years after I graduated from high school. I was saving up money from my construction job. And then, funny enough, a very good friend of mine from back then had a truck just like it. And I used to ride around with him and race people and stuff. Man, and then this truck came up for sale at a dealership, and I knew I had to jump on it. So that's when I got it. My truck was like new when I bought it, actually. It was several years old at this point, but it was a nice old man that drove it before me, so he was just putt-putting around. I've done a few small things to it. I changed out the radio for one of the screens. You can watch a movie or play music off your phone. I painted the dash just because I thought that'd be cool and match the theme of the truck. I used to have some nice subs under the rear seat, but my truck actually got broke into a few years back. As far as performance, I've just done a cold air intake, a tune, exhaust, just simple stuff to give it a little more horsepower, a little more fun. One thing that motivated me to start doing stuff to my truck was, just a stock truck is cool and all, and it's an SS, but I wanted to give it some more sound, a little more life to it. And that was why I got that exhaust I got. I'm saying it's a lot. I used to be in a car club actually called Chaotic Creations. Super cool people in it. I had a great time. They have chapters all over the US, but we would go to car shows and stuff. The biggest one down in Biloxi, Mississippi, scraping the coast. That was a great time. But I eventually had to leave because I joined the Air Force and got shipped off. With my time in the Air Force, I went to basic training in San Antonio, went to my follow-on training up in North Texas, and then my first duty station was in Tucson, Arizona. And I spent several years there before I got deployed to Afghanistan. And in the midst of all that, the truck had to take a back seat, so to speak. I got married to my beautiful wife, and I have 2 beautiful children with her, so the truck isn't as high on the priority list as it might like to be. My wife, fortunately for me, does fully support me spending money towards fixing this truck up, making it what I want it to be. But man, it's not as high on the priority list. And so I gotta make sure my family's well taken care of We have everything we need before I can do fun extra stuff for myself. So I'm pretty attached to my truck. I do love it. It's been there for me for most of my life, it seems. But I must admit, I have a very soft spot in my heart for a manual transmission. I love ripping through the gears, and my first truck was a manual transmission. So I'd really like to have another car where I have complete control. My dream car has always been a Corvette. I am a huge Corvette guy, and I actually had a silver '06 Z06 Corvette, manual transmission, loud exhaust. Man, that car was so much fun to drive. But like I mentioned earlier, I have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful children, so I had to give up my fun car for a family-oriented vehicle. What I really like about driving my truck, man, it sounds good, at least to me. I like it a lot. It feels like it's got more power than it actually does, so it's fun to drive, it sounds good. And even in the state it's in, people notice it, give me a thumbs up, tell me they like my truck, and it makes me feel good, honestly. My future plans for this truck include getting a new paint job, because this paint's a little old, it's starting to show a bit. I absolutely need some new wheels because the stock wheels ain't gonna cut it. And then I want to put a nasty cam in it and a supercharger, and then it'll really be fun. I'd just like to tell my fellow car people, just stick with it. You know, things will come up. You may get married, have relationships, children. Things come up, that's life. But if you got something you're passionate about, just stick with it and it'll be worth it. My name is Jordan Bruner. This is my ride, my story. Oh yeah, and I got married and had kids. It's kind of a big deal. My name is Jordan Bruner. This is my ride, my story. I feel like my voice cracked.
Do it again, say it again.
She's full.
It's hot.